to this space where love is true. Open hearts and minds, there's a place for you. Gather round together, let your spirit play. In this community, we'll find our way. Every soul a story, a journey to unfold. Seeking out the wisdom, the truths of new and old. We release our fears, let the light shine bright. In the warmth of our spirit, we ignite the night. Arise, arise, through awareness we will grow. Taking responsibility for what's mine opens up the flow. Inspire living happens from the inside out. Knowing spirit is all, washes away any doubt. Everyone evolves in their own perfect way. Let us hold hands as we proclaim. Arise. Steps of faith we take with courage in our hearts. Every voice a chorus, every smile a part. From every corner of our city we come anew, with open arms and spirits to embrace what's true. Feel the energy rising, the joy in the air, as we sing our song of love. Let go of despair. Here at the center, there is a seat just for you. Sharing in the laughter while we co-create the new. Rise, arise, through awareness we will grow. Taking responsibility for what's mine opens up the flow. Inspire living happens from the inside out. Knowing spirit is all, washes away any doubt. Everyone evolves in their own perfect way. Let us hold hands as we proclaim. Arise. Together we explore the realms of the divine, unfolding to our potential, weaving hearts sublime. Every journey matters, every truth we share. We lift each other higher, showing how we care. So hold on to the vision, let your bliss lead the way. Live every single moment, let love fill your day. As we rise up together, a symphony of grace. Find the light within us, in the sacred space. So come one, come all, to this place of peace. In our unity, may your worries cease. With open hearts and open minds, let's embrace the call. Within the center for spiritual living, there's a place for us all. Arise, arise, let spirit be your guide. Welcome to your spiritual home. It's so great to be alive. Arise. Welcome to this space where love is true. Open hearts and minds, there's a place for you. Gather round together.
Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. So nice to have you here today. My name is Scott Thompson. I'm a practitioner here at the Centers for Spiritual Living St. George, and we welcome you to this magnificent hour of service, of inspiration, and we are so glad that you are here. I'm extremely honored that today I have Bill Smith, who is our practitioner and president of our board, is doing our tech today. We have Alan, of course, is doing our music today, and then I will be doing the reading and the invocation, and we will be having a marvelous, inspiring talk by our own Reverend Joe. And so we are so glad that you are here. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. You are so welcome here. Our purpose here is to love, teach, guide, and support a spiritual community in creating and living a life they love using science of mind and spirit, so spirit principles. Our vision here at the Center for Spiritual Living St. George is a community-focused center, actually actively living and sharing and nurturing its members and friends so that we all can live our best lives. And most importantly, our mission here is an open, inclusive, and evolving spiritual community that supports its purpose and vision. And we do that through sacred wisdom celebrations. We do that through empowering transformative education, and a dynamic music ministry and community inreach, as well as community outreach. And so we are so glad. If this is your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you're coming back, or if you're watching us on the website, or if you're seeing us on YouTube, welcome. So glad that you're here. So I am going to talk a little bit about our in-person service, which is August 23rd, and that is going to be Mobilizing Anger. And that's going to be done by, presented by myself and by our practitioners, other practitioners, Bill and Sue. And so we welcome you to our in-person service on August 23rd and looking forward to that. And then on August 30th, we have this dynamic speaker, Reverend Dr. Lloyd Barrett. He is just like, woo. He's really, really an energetic, dynamic speaker, and this is going to be done online. And his title is called Approved for Awakening. So that ought to be extremely exciting. Looking forward to seeing that. Talk a little bit about prayer. We are always available for prayer. Everyone here is knowing the highest and greatest truth for you. And if you are wishing to receive prayer, we ask that you just send an email and we will get right on it. Also, after our service, we have prayer available for you in our in-person service as well. Okay. All right. Oh, we have got a back-to-school fundraiser. Yay. Can you believe it? It's like it's already here upon us. It's like the kids just returning back to school. And so we're doing a fundraiser here to help local students to get the year ready, and donating school supplies or making a cash donation on our website would be awesome. That would be great. That's our kind of focus today. We have a really interesting bookstore in our in-person service that we have. It's really diverse, and it's a really good way to explore different thoughts in different ways. And we have a pretty much like a love offering. There are books that have been donated. And if you would like a book, take a book. If you want to leave a book, leave a book. So we have that going on with us in our in-person center. Okay, and then on the 23rd, practitioner Sue has been doing this amazing workshop called Awakening the Mystical. And her discussions are very diverse, and so many different people come from all over the southern Nevada or southern Utah area, as well as southern Nevada. She does it on the 23rd from 1 to 2, and explores different areas of the mystical and the metaphysical world. Okay. And then our community events. My, what a big community St. George is. There are so many activities that are going on, and our community, our CSL community, is really focused on that community outreach and bringing different activities to people. So if you're like kind of like shy and going into something, we have quite a lot of different activities where one of us or some of us will show up, and that way you have a connection there. So we have the downtown's farmers market. And there's all of these great things on our website. If you go to our website at CSLSG.com or .org, sorry. And there's lots of information about the community events, and we're very active in doing that. So you might find some use in there. All right. Oh, and then I'm so excited about this. Marina is one of our force of nature, as I call her. She is spearheading the community care circle, and it's a simple way to offer support and connections and care with the St. George community and the outlying reaches. And Marina's information is on the website, and it's really great if you are needing some extra care. And she's definitely the great person to spearhead that. Okay. Oh, and then yes, Alan. We're getting the band together. Joy Choir is going to be this new focused ministry that we're going to have, because what better way to feel spirit when you're singing and you're being uplifted, and it's like, yes, and those voices carry, and even if you don't have a great voice, you're part of something that is beginning to form, and that is going to be starting real soon. Do have to participate and be able to contact Alan, and he would be happy to bring you in. Okay. And then, okay. So the Connection Circle, that's right. We were just talking a little bit about that. That starts on September 24th. And it's 8 weeks, and they're going to be studying 7,000 ways to listen, staying close to what's sacred. And that's by Mark Nepo, who's an amazing author and has really done some pretty powerful ways in getting to listen. And it's the Connection Circle. So you might want to keep your eyes on that and be a part of that. That is going to be spearheaded at Rick and Anna's home. Okay. All right. Oh, down in my soul. Oh, let's go, Alan.
Hello, Scott. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're looking forward to you. If you like to sing, we'll plug this announcement some more. We're going to call ourselves the Joy Singers, because we're just going to do it for fun. And we'll be meeting like once a month after service for an hour or so and get together. So if you love to sing, don't worry about being a choir and wearing all this stuff and this and that. Just show up and we'll all sing together and have some fun. We can do that right now. And you're welcome to join in. It's Jan Garrett, J.D. Martin's song, Down in My Soul. I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul. I hear the music down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. I've got a new day down in my soul. I've got a new day down in my soul. I've got a new day down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. I love the silence down in my soul. I love the silence down in my soul. I love the silence down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. I feel the music down in my soul. I feel the music down in my soul. I feel the music down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. I feel the music down in my soul. I feel the music down in my soul. I feel the music down in my soul, and the whole wide world is my home. Yes, the whole wide world is my home.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, beautiful. Oh, it's got me insane. So let's talk a little bit about today's reading. This whole month has been centered around fear and anger, and the fear and the furious is kind of like the theme for the month. And today's topic is really in the presence of fear. And one of the things that comes to mind is, something maybe to contemplate is that what if fear isn't the enemy, but a guidepost to a deeper understanding? And Pema Chodron, who's a monk, and she's an amazing teacher, and she's written many books. And I'm going to be reading a segment of hers today that really is looking at us to go inward in the process of meditation. And so what I'd like to do is start off with an affirmation. It's like, I meet fear with curiosity, compassion, and courage. Let's sit with that for a minute. I meet with fear with compassion, curiosity, and courage. And so Pema wrote, in meditation, we discover our inherent restlessness. Sometimes we get up and leave, sometimes we sit there, but our bodies wiggle and squirm and our minds go far away. This can be so uncomfortable that we feel it's impossible to stay. Yet this feeling can teach us not just about ourselves, but what it is to be human. All of us derive security and comfort from the imaginary world of memories and fantasies and plans. We really don't want to stay with the nakedness of our present experience. It goes against the grain to stay present. And these are the times when only gentleness and a sense of humor can give us the strength to settle down. So whenever we wander off, we gently encourage ourselves to stay and settle down. So one of the things is, are we experiencing restlessness? Stay. Decisive mind? Stay. Are fear and loathing out of control? Stay. Aching knees, throbbing back? Stay. What's for lunch? Stay. What am I doing here? Stay. I can't stand this another minute. Stay. That is how to cultivate steadfastness. Pema Chodron is one of the many meditation leaders that I have followed throughout the years, and it is that uncomfortability that beckons the mind for us to bring back into the present moment, to breathe, and to stay. Now, from the science of mind perspective, this statement invites us to recognize that fear is not rooted in external circumstances, but the creative power of our own beliefs. Our experience of fear arises not from the outer event, but from the meaning and reality we assign the event in consciousness. When we shift our attention from the fearful appearance to the truth of our spiritual nature, and we reclaim our innate power. Science of mind teaches thoughts and beliefs create our reality. Therefore, by consciously choosing faith, love, and alignment with the infinite, we dissolve the seeming power of faith and affirm our connection to the divine presence within. In this way, fear becomes a pointer, revealing where we have placed our faith in restriction rather than in possibility. And at this point, we are invited to gently return to spiritual truth. So perhaps this week, taking a look at our relationships with fear. When does it arise most strongly? And more importantly, what does it ask of us? Maybe you want to reflect on a time where you are guided when fear has prompted you into growth or change. So for a practice this week, I invite you to sit in meditation with one current fear and simply allow yourself to be in its presence without solving it or escaping it. Now I'm going to invite you to come into consciousness of prayer with me. If you feel comfortable in closing your eyes and just feeling that presence of peace, that presence, that one power, that one infinite mind. And breathing into that presence of truth, that presence of peace, that it's right here, right now. Knowing that God is all there is and that we are all in that infinite oneness of all things, we know that fear is simply a guidepost to pointing us into a new direction, into a new truth, unveiling the consciousness of being in that one mind, unifying ourselves in that one mind. And so I know that every person here that is listening and participating today, knowing that they are all part of the one, just as I am part of the one. And it is together through our consciousness that we are able to bring in peace, bring in love, bring in power, and knowing that all things are possible in the infinite mind of God. And so today I celebrate you and I celebrate me and I celebrate all of us in that presence of peace, right here and right now. And together we say, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Scott. I just love that prayer stuff. You know, it's been said about me through this lifetime that there has been no moss grow on these shoes. If you know what that expression means. And some people ask me, well, how do you do that? And I said, well, I don't know. You could call it faith or whatever, but what I do know is that's what you just did. When I pray, I'm not asking for something. I know it's already so. So there's my faith to move along and kick off the moss. So I believe what I pray is already there. So that makes things a lot easier to take. So this song came to me about that subject. I can feel the warming sun. I can see the lovely sky. I can hear the happy birds as they play. I walk my path in faith and know that it's another perfect day. For deep inside, I believe what I pray. I can see before I go, because I already know. For deep inside, I believe what I pray. No fear where I may go. I have no doubts, my life is whole. I feel the love of Spirit flowing through my soul. My heart is full, my mind is clear, my life is blessed, all this I know. For deep inside, I believe what I pray. I can see before I go, because I already know that deep inside, I believe what I pray. It works for me, it'll work for you. There's just one thing that you must do, is deep inside believe what you pray. It works for me, it'll work for you. There's just one thing that you must do, is deep inside believe what you pray. Deep inside believe what you pray.
Wow, no introduction. Here I am.
Now, I'd like to introduce Reverend Joe.
Hey, woof, poof. I was just deep in thought. I'm like, oh, that's me. Thank you. Now, that's a great song. I don't know if I remember you playing that, but definitely want to hear it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks to Scott Thompson for our reading and our prayer and our insightfulness that he shared with us, our practice. And I want to give a shout out to Bill Smith, who's behind the scenes making me look good. So keep it going, Bill. Yay! You should be able to hit reactions and send those balloons up. That would be fun. So we're talking about the presence of fear, in the presence of fear today. And when I sat down with this talk, I was just realizing I gave myself permission to think. I was having troubles coming up with like experiences of like fear, believe it or not. And so what I recognize first is that like fear is not weakness, that fear is not proof that God or spirit has abandoned us. It's simply that it arises when we have our focus on something that technically and spiritually has no power, and we'll get more into that. And so I wanted to share some of the fears that came up with me. I recall, I think it was middle school, and I don't remember the whole situation now because it was so many years ago, but there was, I was told that there was a group of boys that wanted to beat me up. And so I was terrified to even go home. And back then we didn't have cell phones and didn't know who to tell and yada, yada, yada. And I finally made it home, and it was a very fearful time. And that lasted for a while. And from the idea of being jumped by other boys, my mind shifted to jumping out of the plane when I went skydiving. and that was intense fear, but it was a fear that I was prepared for and moved through. So still fear, different concept, different part of my life for that. But I remember fears of back in the day having to use the old rotary phone to call up a girl you like and maybe talk to her. And I swear for me, every time the dad picked up instead of the girl, that was scary. Or trying out for a sports team or a play. We all experience fear in different ways. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a fear that's life-changing, but a fear is a fear, and it's a natural human experience. And again, it does not mean we are weak in any way. But what happens to all of us, and Michael Singer in his book Untethered Soul addresses this very, very well, is we have a fear and then we try to avoid it at all costs instead of actually dealing with where fear resides from the inside out. And so we start creating all this stuff like masks we talked about a few months ago to protect ourselves. And what I'm going to ask us to do, and hopefully by the end of this, you'll have an idea, is instead of asking ourselves, how can I avoid this fear, avoid fear at all, is what resources can I open myself to that when fear does come up, when I find myself that I've shifted my consciousness into fear, that I can go to in my little grab bag and use to help reshift where I'm at. Now, in Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes talks about fear, and he says, but what is fear? Nothing more nor less than the negative use of faith. Faith misplaced. So what he's talking about here, notice he's not trying to create shame or guilt. It's fear is faith misplaced. In other words, we're taking it from this infinite possibilities and we're focusing on, in essence, what we don't want. We focus on all the things that could go wrong, and then we wonder why that fear builds, right? When all the while we could follow our faiths and know, I mean, again, Alan, we didn't talk, but that song, like, knowing, pray for what I know is already there, right? It's there. And so it takes a sense of spiritual maturity to build up the strength and the courage and the consciousness to be able to redirect fear back onto faith, right? So we're no longer misplacing it to what I call the 3 Ps, which is the power, the presence of possibilities, right? The positive possibilities. We're focusing on all the negative possibilities. So the infinite possibilities of God itself. So I thought today the talk would be just some brief ideas. I came up with a top 5 list of how we misplace our faith, the 5 common roots of fear, so to speak. And the first one is probably the most obvious. And I'm going to go back to that time, and often, but for me, the time when I thought I was going to be beat up was I felt completely all alone, and I did not trust that any God, let alone man, was going to support me. And so we call that separation. We don't believe that we are still of God. We don't believe that God is more powerful than our situation. And so what we do then is we take our energies and our focus, and we focus on the very thing that could go wrong, because it is a possibility. But we also know, when we demonstrate something, we co-create something, that it's always where we hold our attention most. So separation feels real, but in Science of Mind philosophy, it has no real spiritual power, no spiritual truth, right? So we go back to grounding. There's one life, one presence, one power. That is our life. That is my life, right? We own it. That is my life now. And this presence and this power is not like a dimmer switch. It is always on, always in its fullness. But we're really good at convincing ourselves it's not. When we can't feel it, when we just can't come up with an idea for it. And so with that, as long as we stay on that path, we continue to feel fear. So the idea is to switch from recognizing, okay, fear, I'm giving it that power and attention. Now, keep in mind, in this situation, we're not talking about when your life is in danger, right? If someone's doing some harm to you for real, or you're in a car accident or whatever. All right, we're talking about these things that they happen. Maybe it's the loss of a job, and all of a sudden we feel separated. And what am I going to do? And how am I going to survive? And there's, as Jim Rohn would say, there's too much month at the end of my money, right? And that could cause real fear. But that is a perfect example of where then we go back to spiritual truth, that God or spirit is our source and supply of all, because that is source. Everything we're experiencing is, I was going to say an illusion, but that would trick it up, is us having an experience of what we believe spiritual truth is. So we don't see truth until we align with it. I hope that hammers home, right? And so if I believe the only way I'm going to get money is to work a job, and I don't have a job, then I'm going to feel fear. But going back to Alan's song, if I need a job, I need employment, we do, then I'm going to trust the infinite powers that is in this moment, fully turned on to lead and guide me, because I am not separate from it. It is me and I am it. I and the Father are one, as Yeshua or Jesus would say, to guide me to the next opportunity. So think about this with regards to this idea of separation. What changes when I remember that I do not or could not ever face this thing alone? Now, how could I say that? Because I know there are people in this world that feel completely alone, and I've been there. But that's my choice in the moment. I may not be consciously aware of it, but that which we call God, we're in it. We're like the fish in the ocean. We could not be separate if we wanted to. We could have the experience of it. And what I want to go to for an example that came up for me of this is sitting in a movie theater. Like, we do this on purpose. We put ourselves in a place knowing that we're absolutely A-okay to begin with. And then let's say you go and it's a scary movie and you're feeling fear as if it's real. You're feeling whatever's going on the screen as if it is real. But technically it has no power, because all you need to do is shift, right? We've kind of purposely misplaced our faith in this. We pretend it's real. And then we can just blink our eyes, or the lights come on and we realize, okay, it wasn't real. And I'm going to say the same thing is going on right now, right? That we can open our spiritual eyes and recognize that we are the power that we're seeking outside of us. We already are prosperous. We already are loved and loving. We are that which we believe we are separate from, because there is no separation, and God is all of that. Spirit is all of that already. And I do want to kind of hammer these, but just kind of succinctly. So I want to move on to another big one, which I experienced in the second idea, which I was talking about, was jumping out of the plane, which was I must be in control. When we feel like we're out of control, we have fear. Now, going back to my first one, that was also fear of not being in control. I didn't know what to do. But I want to use the one where I went skydiving, because I worked my way through it. And I think you can use my example of how to do that too, right? So psychologically, we want a sense of security. We want to kind of know all the answers. We want to know how it's going to end before it ends. And technically, we're the ones that are going to create that anyway. And that's where visualization comes in. That's where, when I really want something to manifest, like a perfect relationship, my perfect new house in St. George, then I spend time being in that. But a lot of us don't know this, and we're human anyway. So we get caught up in these things and we start trying to control things. And we're basically not putting our trust, our power, our focus in God itself, right? But a spiritual life does not mean we have all the answers. We don't require to know. What we do know is we have our faith that the next step of the plan is perfect. And it's going to happen according to our best and highest good. Think about that. So the other way of saying this that I've been using the past 6 months to a year is life is always happening for me. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. I don't know how I'm going to end up moving to St. George, but mentally and emotionally, I'm there. And so I know by law, it must come into manifestation or as a demonstration. So as I place more confidence in the all-knowing, the all-powerful, the all-present Spirit, God, and knowing it's going to align it anyway, it can do it for me. It's kind of like using AI, I guess, like put it in and there it'll show you how, but this is physical version of it. So I'm not sure how I'm going to make it there, but if I trust the inside out, that if I can feel it, I know it, then it will happen. It's planting the seed in fertile soil and just allowing life, nature to happen. And so this doesn't mean shucking responsibilities at all. It means more about taking responsibilities, but without trying to control. So in this idea, in my example, my true example of skydiving, I first want to tell you, to remind you, if you haven't heard the story, I had 3 dreams of skydiving, and they were absolutely full senses. So as I was falling, at least what I thought, right, in my dream, what I expected. So I was falling and I had that feeling in my stomach and I was looking around and it was an incredible view and it was just amazing. And I said I wanted to do that. And then one day for my birthday, my wife, she created a card and it's basically said, I bought you a skydiving ticket. And literally instantly, I felt so much fear because all of a sudden I'm like, wait, I'm really going to do it? Because I was, in my mind, I was dreaming, I was safe, I was in control. And so fast forward, we're there. I get the harness on and I'm thinking, well, there's got to be a bunch of, I don't know, a class or something they're going to put me in. And this was up in Mesquite. And I was like, no, that didn't happen. And so then he's like, my guide, he says, let's just walk over here for a minute. So I didn't really say goodbye to anybody, my wife and kids, and we'll just get on this plane. And so all the way up to, I don't remember, I think it was 7,000, 8,000 feet. I felt the fear, but what I did was remind myself each moment I felt the fear, I'm okay right now. I'm sitting in the plane. I'm not outside the plane yet. I'm okay right now. I'm safe right now. Enjoy the ride. I kept putting into my mind the experience that I want to have, and I kept remembering the dream that I had, and that's what I wanted. So that's really what dragged me through, was that nothing was going to stop me from having that experience. And it was scary as all heck, especially sitting on the outside, well, the level of where they opened the door and my feet are dangling outside the plane and all that stuff. But then we jumped, and yes, it was somewhat terrifying. And then I don't know how he knew my eyes were closed at the time, but he's like, open your eyes. And when I did, there was my dream. And it was incredible. It was incredible. So we can transform fear into the experiences that we would rather have. All right. So again, the main point is simply that we don't need to know the whole path. We don't have to have all the answers. Just keep faithfully taking steps. Right. All right. So let's move on to this next one that keeps a lot of us stuck in fear and stuck in uncomfortability. As Scott said, is we rely on our past. And, oh, well, it's never happened before. So I've always been in pain. I've always been this. I've always been that. People have always seen me in this way. This always happens to me. And of course, there's other layers. A lot of these are not on their own. You know, when we believe in this idea that because it's happened before, it can't happen now, that's also separation. But we'll just say the idea we're stuck in our past, right? And so we can and we do train ourselves to believe that. And then, of course, what must show up is that. And so it does take some time to be able to shift the mind from turning painful experiences away from being permanent and shifting to, again, placing our attention on faith instead of fear. So the idea is, I'm going to say, I always say simply, people are like, it's not simple. I understand. But we stop reacting to what was and begin to respond to it from a different way of being grounded, right? So while our past does influence us, absolutely, okay, and here's the key, it can influence us, but it does not have to define us. And even if it is currently defining us, we are the ones writing the definition. What does it mean for me now? Maybe it was true that I struggled in love. Maybe it was true I felt this at one point in my life, that I always attracted the wrong person. And guess what? I kept doing that until I found this pathway of living, right? So we're not denying the past. Well, what we do is we pull the plug on its power, right? We release it by recognizing, okay, if that was true, then what also can be true? So if I've created a situation, experience where I'm always attracting the wrong person, I'm now going to shift to one where I attract the perfect person. And then I'm going to play in what does that person look like and create that and feel that, plant that seed. I watched this, I'm going to call him a young man, and his name is on YouTube, and his name is Chris the Wiz Miller. If you get a chance, look him up. He's got some awesome videos and a regular one. And he asked a question this week that I wanted to share with you because I think it's appropriate. And it said, he asked, which thought in me would have to be false right now for perfect peace to be already true? Which thought in me would have to be false right now for perfect peace to already be true? So something like, well, it will always be this way. Is that true? Or is that the false? Right? Because it happened before, it's going to happen again. We believe that's true. But if I'm trying to live perfect peace, then that would have to be false because that's keeping me from peace. The idea of believing that my past has control over my present, no matter what, keeps me not in peace. So if I negate that and shift my focus, I can now at least begin to allow peace in. Right? I've always failed at this. Every time I do, I sabotage myself. Yes, right? We're not denying, but now what would you like to experience? Okay. So I want you to play with that for a while. Peace becomes available when that false belief is brought into the spiritual lab of truth. That doesn't hold up. And we have our own experiences. You have your own experiences of knowing that, yeah, you know, I used to think this, but then I shifted. And well, then don't limit that. If you did it once, you could do it again. Now, let me shift to, because I want to move through all of these, is the not enoughness. There's not enough. There's lack, right? There's not enough time. There's not enough money. There's not enough opportunity, health. Somebody else always gets all the good stuff. That's what we call a consciousness of limitation and lack. And when we're in that, it causes us to like contract to grab hold, control, withhold things, as well as really settle for less because we don't believe that we can have it. There's not enough. And so, again, note, okay, spiritual consciousness does not mean ignoring like practical circumstances. Like if we actually don't have enough food right now in reality, then yes, we need to get more, etc. But we want to know and open our mind and keep in mind what we're experiencing. We have that buffer time that it takes to create things. So even though I begin to shift my mindset, okay, and I can feel it, and it still hasn't shown up yet, it must, but that energy from your past beliefs is still kind of fueling this current reality, but you're shifting out of it. It's kind of, again, like slowly changing the dial or the dimmer switch, right? So again, it doesn't mean ignoring practical circumstances, right? Yet it also means to refuse allowing the present conditions to be all there is and limit the infinite possibility that is. So as we shift our attention, and the other thing, conversations in my head, let me slow down. When we have this lack focus, then we are not recognizing God or spirit as our source and supply of all. We are saying it comes through the job, but who created the job? Well, you're going to say the company and the organization, but who created everything? It's all and always goes back to unconditional love of spirit that is expressing in, as in through our reality, and we are the directors of our play. And so if we're experiencing lack, it's up to us to begin to tell the stagehand, hey, we need to change the scenery around. We need to create, I want abundance everywhere, and begin to live as if you are experiencing that. So, and we never know, the other thing is we never know how it's going to come, when this next opportunity may come. And I talk in abundance, but abundance in all ways, not just money and health, but opportunities. So I was working valet, and I got hurt on the job, and I didn't have money coming in, and I rolled with it. I was young, I was single, so it wasn't as crazy, but it was fearful. And then I decided to, the next week, go to work anyway, just to hang out with my friends. And while I was there, I run into the college football trainer, medical trainer, and who recognized me. I was on the team, and he's like, "What have you been up to?" And I kind of pointed to my ankle, which was all a swollen mess. And I said, "Well, nothing right now, but I usually do valet, and I'm doing this and that." And he's like, "Dude, I work for this roller hockey team. I need an equipment manager like yesterday. We had to fire one. We don't have anybody. Do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like, came out of nowhere, right? Infinite possibilities. And I took that, and it opened up so many amazing doors and experiences. I could never control that. I had no idea it was coming. And I could have looked at my opportunity as just horrible, but I was kind of rolling with it in that sense. And instead of saying, "Oh, life is bad, there's not enough to go around," I had a whole different stream of income come in. So again, are we placing all of our power in the present moment, or which is lack, which is limitation, which is not enoughness, et cetera, or are we shifting it to the infinite presence without understanding how it's going to happen? And that's often why we stop shifting back to that power. All right. I think that was all 5. Oh, the last one is, I've kind of, again, they overlap, which is, I can't handle this. And that's an intense fear, because we, again, have placed all our power into the circumstances of our lives. What do little me know? Well, little you, as in this ego and personality, doesn't know anything compared to the infinite mind and nature of God or spirit itself. So again, as we shift, as we ground, our power is the ability to choose our consciousness, to speak affirmatively, to act affirmatively, take action that supports what we want. Okay? Having courage to move forward doesn't mean the fear doesn't go away, but it's moving through it and denying that it has a grip on you any longer. Do you feel that? And I know you have examples of yourself by yourself, right? There is a power within me that is greater than any circumstance in front of me. And I've created this circumstance in front of me. So let's whack my mic. Let me open myself to this power now and shift. All right, take a breath for me. I'm going to ground myself a little bit and just, there are times when fear is shouting at us. It's saying you're alone. It's saying you're powerless. It's saying you don't know and have all the answers. You're weak. There's not enough to go around. And it can be relentless. But at the same time, if we shift our attention to who we're listening to, then Spirit is saying, I'm here with you right now. And it's saying, I've got this. It's saying there's more than enough. It's saying that your past does not determine your present, your future. It's saying that I am infinite possibilities expressing through you. Use me. I'm here for you. All right. So I did have a closing slide that, I skipped something there. Am I placing my faith in the present appearance of lack or limitation? Yes. All right. So just some pointers. One, when we focus on this greater presence, we do not have to wait for fear to disappear before we live, love, serve, or move forward. Again, the fear isn't necessarily going to go away, but we weaken it and shift our power onto source. Fear may be present, but it is not the only presence. Probably should have capitalized that presence. In the presence of fear, there is also courage. In the presence of uncertainty, there is wisdom. In the presence of limitation, there is possibility. And in every moment, there is the presence of Spirit. So I just want to go back to this thought by Chris DeWiz Miller, which, when you're feeling fear, lack, limitation, and even if it's not fear, you're just trying to co-create something and you're blocking yourself. Which thought in me would have to be false right now for perfect peace to already be true? Okay. Take the authority away from fear, put it back on God. All right. Let's have our affirmation, which is, even in the presence of fear, I stand in the presence of Spirit. And I'm looking at the time, so let's anchor this in prayer. Thank you, God, for allowing me to recognize and be aware of all that I am aware of. For my sights are on knowing that this life is always happening for me, and that there are infinite possibilities, there are infinite redos, there are infinite retakes. And I know that all of life is unconditional love being expressed right now. And as I speak in the first person, knowing that this is true for all, then what I shift my attention away from is power in any circumstance over me. Two, knowing that I am a divine channel of divine power and co-create the perfect reality for myself and for this world. I speak it. So I affirm that this world is a beautiful expression of unconditional love, showing up everywhere and in everyone. That there is more than enough for all. That all experience freedom and perfect health and wellness and well-being. That relationships are perfect and strong and healthy. And that we know when to release anything that is no longer serving us with love and grace. I know that this community of St. George's Spiritual Center for Spiritual Living is at an amazing place, that it is just stepping into a whole new sense of beingness. I am so grateful for every member, for every friend, everyone who walks through that door, the volunteers, the practitioners, the core council, Reverend Rachel, the whole community at large. It's just knowing that it continues to come together to solidify as a beautiful model and example of unconditional love, of acceptance. And knowing that there is no fear that could ever stop this, prevent this, because source love is all there is, and so it is. Thank you.
Ooh. Wow. Thank you. That is just such a powerful remembrance of our principles. And thank you, Reverend Joe, for always sharing your personal experiences and just bringing it into all these delicious, teachable moments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaking of deliciousness, we are an organization that is dedicated to serving St. George community and the greater community and the world as a whole. And one of the things about our practice is that giving is a spiritual practice. And that's something that I had learned a long time ago, and that everything that we offer, our Sunday celebrations, our classes, our gatherings, our outreach work, and the inreach is made possible by the generous hearts of this community. And so when you give the gift of spiritual transformation to yourself and to others. And so by giving, there are ways of doing that: your time, your treasure, and your talent. And if you are wishing to contribute to this community, we thank you greatly. You can do it by giving with Zelle. You can also take your phone and you can scan that little QR code, or you can even do mail. Send checks to CSLSG, PO Box 3132, St. George, Utah 84771. We am so grateful for your presence today. And so I'm going to ask you to join me in this affirmation. If you could just place your hands over your heart and just repeat after me. I am overflowing with love and abundance. I give from the source of my being, which is rich and unlimited, with joy and excitement. I share from this overflow. In return, the universe gives back to me in infinite ways, channels and means, and together we say, and so it is. We hope you join us after our service. We meet on Zoom, and there is a connection on the website and then in our newsletter. And we hope you join us, because I'm excited about our little gathering today, because I have questions for Reverend Joe. And it's a great way to commune and gather and just be a part of something. So we hope you will join us. So I guess that we are whole, perfect, and complete. Alan, are we gonna done, or we are moving on into our next service? We are done.
Our closing video.
Each and every moment, I remember who I am. I show up uniquely in the world in the way that only I can. I keep my thoughts clear, I create my own day. I know that there is power in every word I say. I show up, I glow up with every word I speak. I take it day by day and do it all again next week. I am abundant, I am free. I am love, I am me. I am joy, I am the light of the sun. I know who I am, and that we are one.
Love you all.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great Sunday.
Thank you.
Join us in our conversation
Join us.
and check out our new website
And our Echo.
and our app.